What's poppin', voters? It's me, MT, and welcome back to the Heavy Spoiler Show, y'all. Spoilers coming your way for Echo on Disney Plus because we are going to be talking all about the show's ending and what exactly could be coming next for everyone's favorite Kingpin of crime on the road to his next appearance in Daredevil Born Again, and how this could pave the way for the Kingpin becoming the MCU's newest big bad threat in Spider-Man 4. So let's just dive into this thing, shall we? And yo, listen, give this video a quick like, yeah? Because not only does it help the Heavy Spoilers channel grow and reach new people, but it also helps me not get embarrassed in front of Vanessa. And you wouldn't want to embarrass me in front of Vanessa now, would you? Would you? Don't make me break off your car door now. I'm just kidding. Or am I? Yes, I am, because I'm pretty sure I would give myself a hernia and several hemorrhoids if I attempted to yank your car door off its hinges. I'm not that strong. Like, I'm pretty strong, but I'm not that strong.
Mayor! Now that's a good idea. I could run for mayor.
And that's pretty much how the Echo post-credit scene went. Let's talk about it because it very much sets up some super exciting stuff for the future of the MCU. In particular, street-level Marvel, which is something that people have been clamoring for years now. Because, oh my lord, Mayor Kingpin is coming to make the Big Apple safe again. The end of the Echo finale is very much intended to tease an upcoming major conflict for any and all people in New York City who can make their body glow and do superhuman things for the good of the people. That's right, everybody. The internet rumors seem to be true. The Devil's Reign is coming to the NYC of the MCU. Alright, so for those of you who don't know, Devil's Reign is an intense event from the Marvel Comics that shows Wilson Fisk finally become mayor of New York City. A mayor that has promised to deal with a long-standing inequality that has plagued the good people of the city long enough. Superhumans. Because you see, superhumans are scary and cannot be trusted. So why should they be able to run around using those dangerous superpowers as illegal vigilantes? What makes superhumans so damn special that they get a free pass to do whatever they want without repercussions, all while good, hardworking Americans are forced to live on a much more strict set of rules just because they don't have superpowers? That's not fair. So to address this inequality, the Kingpin introduces the Powers Act, a piece of legislation that forbids any superhuman to use their powers for vigilantism, because vigilantism is illegal, while also giving Wilson Fisk control over the Thunderbolts, as well as an army of soldiers called his Thunderbolt units to lawfully arrest any and all superheroes found violating this law. So this all being said, you can probably see why Wilson Fisk's upcoming run for mayor is super appropriate, especially considering what Marvel Studios has been doing with their recent projects to tease the upcoming chaos growing in the MCU. Like, there's a reason why projects like Spider-Man No Way Home and Ms. Marvel have begun to show us a strong wave of fear and xenophobia growing across the world as organizations like Damage Control start abusing their power and authority to arrest even the youngest among the superpowered populace for using their superpowers. And with the ending of Secret Invasion sending the entire world on high alert against superpowered alien foreigners from beyond, it's only a matter of time before all the superpowered alien migrants on Earth are also targeted by Val and the American government next. Even the superpowered beings that look like aliens, like the subaquatic sovereignty of the Talokan, who can easily be mistaken for the Kree race. And one of the main reasons why I believe Marvel Studios is starting to let superpowered xenophobia grow at this particular point in the MCU is simple. The X-Men are on the way. I mean, yeah, it's quite clear that Marvel Studios is very much holding a mirror to our real-life world by trying to get people to see that people who round up innocent people and put them in cages just because they're different are bad people. They're also taking the opportunity to establish that the MCU Earth is now a very fearful place. And when the world is afraid, it is much easier to be angry and hateful towards groups that they personally do not understand. Because that is the core of the mutant narrative in the X-Men comics, with the Mutant Brotherhood leader Magneto rebelling against the world's fearful oppression of mutants by becoming a supremacist himself, and the mutant Charles Xavier forever looking for ways to broker peace between mutated superhumans and regular humanity. So Wilson Fisk becoming mayor and enacting the Powers Act to even further boost Damage Control's efforts to round up even more genetically mutated super beings like Ms. Marvel and Spider-Man definitely feels like it is very much serving the MCU to establish the future grievances of X-Men arch-nemesis Magneto, a man who has seen firsthand exactly where such persecutions can lead, because that dude went through the Holocaust, and the Holocaust sucked so bad. The MCU adapting and introducing the Powers Act from the Devil's Reign story arc now definitely makes sense, as it very much feels like a rebirth of the Sokovia Accords introduced in Captain America's Civil War. During Daredevil's much anticipated appearance in 2022's She-Hulk Attorney at Law, Matt Murdock mentions that as of the modern day of the MCU, the Sokovia Accords have been repealed for at least a little while now, allowing for superheroes to continue to fight crime without being directed by the federal government or the United Nations as a whole. However, this is a new day in the MCU, and since Civil War I generals Steve Rogers and Tony Stark are no longer around, now is the greatest time for the political entities of the world to try at another Sokovia Accords again, because they know that they're not going to get any pushback from Captain Rogers or Iron Man, two massively influential public figures responsible for saving countless lives throughout the entire universe. But why would MCU Kingpin want to enact the Powers Act in the first place? I mean, yeah, we do know that politicians playing on people's fears and acting like their candidacy or leadership is the only solution to abating those fears is a classic political maneuver employed to this day. But I think it's still good to question what exactly beyond just that political tactic could be driving Big Willie to want to round up superpowered beings in the first place. Well, I think we just saw that reasoning in the Echo finale, specifically when Maya used her cool new genetic abilities to tap into Kingpin's mind and enter his most vulnerable memories without his permission. Because right after this happens, Kingpin grabs Maya and demands to know what that superpowered witch just did to him, and how a disabled woman that he's known since she was a vulnerable little girl could suddenly develop superpowers that allowed her to take down Fisk and his goons with far less effort than he's ever seen her use before. In short, Wilson Fisk is scared. Throughout his entire life, Fisk has used his physical strength to muscle his way to the very top of the New York City underworld. But while the superpowered Avengers were doing their thing fighting the more flashy, world-ending bad guys like your Ultrons and your Thanoses, the big bads of the criminal underworld have been living pretty free from the eyes of the superhero community as a whole for a very long time in the MCU. However, now that the rate at which superpowered beings are popping up in the world has increased dramatically over time, street-level heroes like Spider-Man, Clint Barton's Ronin, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, etc. have started to get more and more superpowered help from newcomers like, Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel, Kate Bishop, Moon Knight, and of course, the greatest hero of all time, Leapfrog, who have been inspired by the Avengers enough to step in and help in their own way. I mean, damn, there's so many superheroes now that Luke Jacobson can make a comfortable living designing and maintaining supersuits for all of these fresh new fighters of crime. Like, it's truly a brave new world. So while I'm sure Wilson Fisk was worried about that superpowered threat before to some degree, Echo using her powers to send him back to his most traumatic memory, thus rendering him so vulnerable and powerless, definitely seems to have lit a fire under Wilson Fisk's large white ass. Because the Kingpin is starting to feel like his crown is in jeopardy, because his own raw strength is quickly starting to get outmatched as MCU genetic evolution continues to take its course and makes new superpowered beings. He's threatened by the emergence of these various new breeds of mutations, making the previously dominant human race inferior. And I'm pretty sure he's not the only underworld gang leader that is worried about this, because I'm sure entities like the Ten Rings, the Power Broker, and Hydra are also sharing the Kingpin's concerns as well, and will probably end up working together with him to some degree, with Val probably uniting all these supervillains together. So this all being said, you can pretty much squarely blame Mayor Kingpin's upcoming persecution of superhuman vigilantes squarely on Echo, in my opinion, because her mind-infiltrating powers has for sure made Uncle Willie scared and angry. However, I have a funny feeling that by the end of Wilson Fisk's reign of terror over the Enhanced of New York City, it's going to be revealed that Wilson Fisk himself has been a mutant this entire time, and he didn't even know it. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Big Wilson is abnormally strong and resilient, like to a crazy degree. Like, not only can this dude pull off and weaponize a car door at the blink of an eye, but he has also inexplicably tanked an explosion from one of Hawkeye's arrows and Maya's point-blank bullets to the freaking eyeball like a goddamn G. This is a man who has eaten his Wheaties. And the last time I checked, Wilson Fisk hasn't been exposed to any super soldier serums, spider bites, or gamma radiation to mutate his DNA. So the only real logical explanation I can think of for the Kingpin's super strong and resilient biology is for him to have been enhanced through his natural genetics. Through the Daredevil TV series, we know how traumatic Wilson's childhood was in the Fisk household, and how much that trauma formed Wilson's entire cruel and controlling personality. But I think that trauma could have formed more than just that. I have a feeling that Kingpin's resilience towards all of the abuse that he endured during his puberty years could have activated his mutant gene early and caused Kingpin to become a mini mutant super soldier in his own way, able to withstand things that would kill most people, because his father always wanted him to toughen up. Kingpin finding out that he has actually secretly been the very thing that he's been persecuting as mayor would be such a dope way to wrap up that Devil's Reign story arc while also furthering the mutant narrative for the inevitable mutant saga after Secret Wars. But anyways, this all being said, the recent Spider-Man 4 rumors are for sure starting to make sense now, as internet scooper at Cryptic4Qual has recently said that their sources have hinted that Spider-Man 4 will be treated like a street-level Civil War event. So with the confirmation that the MCU is indeed seeking to adapt this Devil's Reign storyline from the comics, the Powers Act possibly being introduced in Daredevil Born Again will likely lead all the street-level heroes of the MCU to band together to fight against Kingpin's rising superhuman xenophobia. Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Echo, Daredevil, the Good Iron Fist, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, the Young Avengers, and more. However, since Sony is still only letting Marvel Studios borrow Spider-Man for a certain number of appearances as per their contract, having all these heroes team up in a Spider-Man movie is probably the most realistic way that we'll ever get to see Spider-Man finally face off against Kingpin in the MCU, because Spider-Man can't really appear in any non-Sony approved MCU projects. So while some people understandably would want a Spider-Man 4 to be a much more Spider-Man focused tale with a much smaller scale, Marvel Studios has to really save Spider-Man appearances for events that would be the most worth it. And a Spider-Man Daredevil team up is one of the most requested things from MCU fans right now. But do you guys know what would be the dopest thing about Kingpin potentially being the villain of Spider-Man 4 would be? Getting to see the Kingpin merge with the Venom symbiote, just like we saw him do in the comics in the Spider-Man 100th Anniversary Special from 2014. Because don't y'all forget now, Spider-Man No Way Home's post-credit scene had Venom leave behind some of his goo as a tip to Eddie's exasperated bartender. And good lord, was that goo on the move! So I can for sure see Spider-Man 4 having Peter go through a much different Black Suit Spider-Man arc by letting him unleash his dark side against a Mayor Kingpin who wants nothing more than to unmask Mysterio's killer and take him off the streets permanently. And if I were to guess, Marvel Studios is probably thinking that by having all these other street-level heroes join Spider-Man 4 to fight Kingpin could serve the Black Suit Spider-Man narrative by showing Spider-Man that he doesn't have to rely on the symbiote's dark power to fight his battles alone, kind of like how we saw in the Spider-Man 2 video game. Because if there's one thing a symbiote likes to do, it's make Peter Parker isolate himself from all the support systems in his life. So after he tears the Black Suit symbiote off of his body, I can definitely see Peter Parker proudly teaming up with all of these street-level defenders to take on a Kingpin who has taken Peter's symbiote for himself. Because while Kingpin is indeed strong, I don't think he feels like he's strong enough, and the Venom symbiote would be the perfect performance-enhancing drug for the most dedicated Kingpin of crime. But anyways, that is it for this follow-up video on the Echo post-credit scene. What do you guys think of the post-credit scene, and where do you guys think the MCU will be heading from here? Let us know in the comment section below. But anyways, you can follow me at Mastertainment on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or wherever I am on the internet, especially on the Guardians of the Galaxy podcast, where me, my friends Whitney Van Lanningham, and Tommy Bechtold talk about all the latest in nerd stuff in a really fun way, because we're all friends and we just love being, having fun with Marvel stuff and nerd stuff in general. So come on down if you like fun. But most importantly, follow Heavy Spoilers here on YouTube, and when you do, make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can get notifications notifications every time we upload a video. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are amazing. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.